Welcome, everybody, to our 2025 Swim for Alligator Lighthouse swimmer and kayaker webinar. Appreciate you being here with us. Those of you that are not here with us, you'll find this webinar soon in the all of our social media pages on Facebook, certainly. And this year, unlike other years, we are going to host a series of these webinars. So hopefully we'll be able to catch you on a future webinar if you want to have a direct conversation with us in the weeks leading up to the event. But in the meantime, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Before we really dive into all of our topics this evening, I want to make sure that we introduce a few folks. My name is Matt Dunn. I am the co-founder of Salty Sports Society and the co-director of the Swim for Alligator Lighthouse. Casey Taker, my counterpart, co-founder also of Salty Sports Society and co-director of the Swim for Alligator Lighthouse. Rob Dixon, the executive director of Save Alligator Lighthouse and the maybe only person to swim every single year of the race. Is that correct, Rob?
Yeah, solo.
Solo.
Until this year, we got bigger fish to fry. We're gonna get Lighthouse Larry back in the water. So we're
Excellent.
gonna we're gonna team up. It's gonna be
Excellent.
fun, except
And
for
of
getting
course,
in the kayak.
yep, absolutely. And of course, Lighthouse Larry, world-renowned artist. There he is.
Oh
And
yeah,
first person to complete a solo swim to the lighthouse and back. What year was that, Larry?
2011,
2011.
12, wasn't it? The year
12,
before?
12, and our
12.
first year was the 13th. Yep,
Excellent. But that was from a different location and longer than eight
long.
miles. Yeah.
Uh, Technically from Bud and Mary's, but I did do it in 5 hours and 11 minutes.
Excellent. Very, very good.
Won't talk about the extreme outgoing tide. I can't, but hey, I'll
There
take.
we go. So we're going to ask everybody who has a question as we go through our agenda here tonight. If you would please write those questions in the chat feature located down the bottom of your screen, and we'll run through those at the end. And hopefully we'll answer most of those questions as we go. But before we do that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lighthouse Larry to give us a good history, if you wouldn't mind, Larry, of the lighthouse itself and how the swim came about years and years ago, back to 2011, sounds like.
Well, uh, actually 12, but yeah, no, growing up in the Keys, seeing Alligator Lighthouse every day, you take things for granted. And, I built one out of copper. And in doing so, I read the history about it. And even growing up in the Keys, I had no idea it was built in 1873. And I really tried to talk to people about saving it, and everyone was all over it, and but the government, I was naive enough to think I was going to get the government to step up and save it. Uh, Instead, I got aggravated and decided to swim to it to bring attention to it, and in doing so, I did a one-way swim first before I got in front of the media, hoping I could actually make it and not make a fool of myself. But halfway out to the lighthouse, it dawned on me this would be the greatest open water swim in the world. And when I got back, I happened to call Rob Dixon, a good friend of mine, and said we need to do an annual swim. And that was all she wrote. He jumped on it, and now we got all the support. But again, the U.S. government ended up giving us the lighthouse instead of repairing it. So at this point, that's what all this is about, is to bring attention to it and help save it.
It
So
only took 1,000 hours and an 8-pound application. 8 pounds of paper when we made it was a lot, and digitally.
Yeah.
So but it was worth it. So here we are, free
Larry,
lighthouse.
Larry, can you tell us a little bit about, I know there's a great recognition just about the species of fish in and underneath and around the lighthouse as well.
In the Guinness Book of World's Record, Alligator Lighthouse specifically is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most species of fish in one location in the world, 500, and I think it's 527 at this point. So, it's, and arguably it's the most snorkeled spot in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
So, it it's a local, like all locals. We go there. There's so many locals that are actually their ashes are buried there, sprinkled there. It's just such a part of our maritime history that it's worth saving. And people that do swim it, man, when you talk to them back on the beach, they're in awe of the beauty of that lighthouse and what's around it, the swim itself. When you get out there, you're within a
Oh,
just
no.
under 2 miles to it. It becomes all the pure white sand and coral croppings, and that's where you see the turtles and the species of fish, and it's an amazing place to see.
Okay,
That's
thanks,
why
bud.
I try not to go too fast because I don't want to miss all that. I just swim nice and slow. It is amazing. Larry's right. It's just one of the most beautiful swims in the world, if not the. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's just the thought of getting back in the water and being a two-person relay team with Rob. I'm so excited to see it again. And I do know with our training that the only people that can beat us as a two-person relay team are people that are faster than us.
Perfect. Well said. That's most of them.
Uh, so we did have a joke earlier that Rob and Larry are training in separate cities this year. So we are going to put a drone up in the air for the day before when they practice getting in and out of a kayak. We're going to have some of that footage for the promos next year.
It'll only cost you $5 to watch it, and all proceeds go to save Alligator Lighthouse.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll make millions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, any amount helps. Trust me.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. That's right. I failed to mention we did place the agenda for tonight in the chat. If anybody does want to go look at that file, we're following along just fine here. But the agenda is in the chat. But thanks, Larry. Appreciate that history of the lighthouse. Always good to hear it from you and how things got started. So very much appreciated. Casey, I'll turn things over to my partner in crime, or I should say my life partner in crime. Casey's going to jump in on a few numbers for us and some other specific announcements on the race itself.
And Matt, you may need to guide me.
Sure.
The agenda is not showing up in the chat for me.
Okay, sure thing. First is registration changes.
Perfect. Just really quick, just wanted to just a little pump up for everybody. We're expecting more than 300 swimmers this year. We currently have folks from the UK coming over. We've got folks from Uruguay coming over, and we have more than 26 states represented. We have got Michigan bringing in 10. We have got South Carolina bringing in a ton, and we have got New York and New Jersey with almost over 15 swimmers at this point. So a ton of people coming from all over to enjoy this event. And so I just think that's exciting when you know that you're going to be kind of surrounded. And if you've never been to this event, one of the things that really is unique, we take over the resort. When I say we take over the resort. It is just us. So be prepared for a weekend being surrounded by 300 of your new best friends. And we hope everyone's as excited to get here as we are to have you. Really quick, just to let everyone know, we are getting a above average amount of customer service requests that are coming into the inbox. So please be patient. Please know that this is not anyone's full-time job. This is a passion project. And so we are getting to those as quickly as possible. However, most of the information that people are asking about is located on the website. So do make sure that you're looking through those frequently asked questions, the rules, and the schedule on the website that has all of the information you need to know. If you do need to make registration changes, we know that a lot of times teams, all of a sudden Bob can't swim, and so Lou's going to jump in or Susie. You can email us, but just know that we are going to need, if you're adding a new swimmer, and or if you're switching people out, we're going to need everyone's full information, and they're going to need to be prepared to register. Also, if all the members of your team have not registered yet, every single member of your team has to register and pay, and in order for you guys to swim. So make sure that you've done that. I can see we've still got a lot of teams that are not finished. So we need everyone to go in there and get those guys in, so that we can get you guys all organized and ready. We want to make sure everyone on your team is receiving all the information that we're going to be sending out over the next couple weeks because it's really important. One other thing I just wanted to note, our kayak rental program was extremely popular this year, so it did sell out fairly early. Our single kayaks did. We are still working to source some. However, that is not something I can guarantee. Again, we always say that program is to help, but every swimmer is in charge of ensuring that they have the vessel that they need in order to complete the swim. So if you currently do not have a single kayak, or you currently do not have a kayak and you need a single kayak, I would recommend shooting me an email, but also go ahead and book a tandem because you will need some sort of vessel in order to complete this swim, or you will need to reach out to some of the local kayak vendors and see if you can rent individually from them, or
Do you
borrow.
want to tell them what types there? Because there's some types we don't
Yep.
allow, right?
Yep. It's everything. You need to have a sit on top kayak is recommended. We like them to be at least 11 feet if possible, anywhere between 10 and 14. And then we also recommend that if you are going to use a Hobie kayak, the kind that you pedal, you need to be prepared to help get that in and out of the water because those are extremely, extremely heavy. So just as a warning with that, that is something that you're going to have to babysit that a little bit more, because those are a little more delicate and a lot heavier than your standard kayak. So again, feel free to shoot us an email if you have any questions, but do make sure that you're getting that stuff in. We will not have kayaks available to rent the weekend of. We will not. So just make sure that you're securing what you need to before you get here. In addition, same thing with dinner tickets. The dinner tickets tend to sell out very fast. We're already have a good amount sold. So if you are planning to have dinner tickets, you can log right back into your Run Sign Up account. Go to Manage My Registration. At the top of that, you'll see add-ons. Click on that. You can add your dinner tickets and pay for it right there. Anyone coming in will need a ticket. Every single person that comes into the venue will need a ticket. We will not be selling tickets at the door. So really just want to really, really emphasize that every single year we have 5 or 6 people showing up. This is, if you think you may want to go, which you do because it is a ton of fun, make sure that you're getting those dinner tickets ordered, and you will pick those up when you pick up your registration.
Casey, if you also, I think we had a note on here about notification of deferrals.
Yes. So if you had we have reached out to everyone that deferred last year at least 5 times. So if you, for some reason, are listening to this and you deferred last year and you have not reached out to reactivate your registration, you have to reach out before the weekend of the event to activate your registration so we can get you back in the system. If you're having an issue this year and you don't think you're going to be able to make the swim, shoot us an email. Things are non-refundable, but we will try to work with you to get you deferred to next year. There's a small fee there. Again, all proceeds go to Save Alligator Lighthouse, but we can help take care of you, or if you need to transfer your registration to another swimmer, we can take care of that as well.
And up next, hydration and nutrition.
Yeah. So guys, it is hot, hot, hot. We're going to have the next webinar. We're going to dive into this a little bit deeper. But the biggest thing I want you guys to think about now is you need to be training with the nutrition you're going to use on race day. So you're going to be hitting your peak miles over the next couple of weeks. This is when you really need to be dialing in that nutrition plan and you need to be practicing that nutrition plan. So make sure you are stocking up on the products that you're going to use, that you're using them now and you're testing them, and that you're working to get that plan really dialed in. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you want it, bring it with you. There is a Publix on the island, and there is a great grocery store called the Trading Post. However, the stuff that is very kind of endurance sports specific goes really fast once everyone starts hitting town. It's also more of an island Publix, so not the wide variety of things that may be available at your local Publix is guaranteed to be available there. So if you have something very specific you've been training with, I would recommend bringing that with you as much as you can and or ordering it and having it shipped to be delivered when you get to the hotel.
Yeah.
So, but just make sure, again, these next few weeks, we'll dive into some electrolyte stuff and everything on the next webinar, but make sure you are practicing and you're really, really dialing in your nutrition plan and you're practicing it, because that's the most thing that we see that people start having trouble with out there is they're not fueling enough, or they're fueling and their stomach isn't used to the volume that they're fueling with and they're getting sick.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Casey. What about the number one rule of the event?
Gang, well, we actually have two. So, the first rule is common sense. Common sense, common sense, common sense. When in doubt, if you have no idea what to do, use common sense and let that guide your way. You will be surprised how often we do not see that in action. So just make sure that every situation you're looking at, again, read the rules, study up on the website, go to the safety briefing, ask questions, pay attention. But when in doubt, use common sense, especially when you're out on the water, because the biggest thing is we are going to be, at some point, you are going to be 4 miles out in the ocean, and you need to make sure that common sense is what's going to get you home. The second thing, be nice, be nice, be nice. We are very, very lucky. 99.9% of our athletes, we don't have to tell them this. They come in, they're pleasant, they're awesome, they're amazing. We love them. Everyone has a bad day. If you are having a bad day when you get to the Amerique, I encourage you to step out back, take a look at the lighthouse, breathe in some salt air, take a minute, maybe go dip your feet in the pool, restart, and then come pick up your packet from registration. I just want to make sure, guys, we have our staff works very, very hard. A lot of them are the ones with their cameras on during this call. It's a big weekend. We are so excited to do it for you, but it is a big, hard, tough weekend on everybody. So it is a fundamental rule. Be nice to the staff, be nice to the hotel staff, be nice to your fellow swimmer, be nice to the people at the brewery. This island is welcoming us, and they allowed us to pretty much come down and take over and run amok safely for this weekend every year. And we were able to do so because they opened the island for us. So just make sure you're keeping in mind, we are guests. We are not guaranteed access to be here. And so keep that top of mind and make sure you're being nice to everyone you encounter throughout the weekend.
Thank you, Casey. Appreciate that. If you did just join us, wanted to make sure that everyone's aware, we have posted the agenda in the chat feature. We have also posted a link to the rules. And if you have a question while we're running through the agenda, if you would please just post that in the chat. I know we had several questions that have been asked through email that we're going to cover as well. But if you have a question, please just pop that in the chat and we'll make sure that we go through that here towards the end of the webinar tonight. I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully everybody can see this just fine. This is just straight from the website. This is the schedule of events that I'm going to run through beginning on Thursday, September 11th. We are going to host a packet pickup from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So if you are in town and you want to try and beat the rush, that typically comes in on Friday. Feel free to join us during that 3-hour block on Thursday. After that, it's a big annual tradition. Everybody that is in town, for the most part, heads over to Florida Keys Brewing, not far from the event site at the Amerique Resort. And that will be open from 6 to 9 p.m. If you have checked in already, we'll have some beer tickets for you, and you can enjoy a complimentary beer on the tab of our sponsor, Florida Keys Brewing. So if you're in town, please definitely join us. They would love to see you there, and we'd love to see you there as well. We'll all be there too. Friday will continue. There is a practice at Founders Park. It will be from 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. This year, this is a new change. This year, there will be a $5 charge that the pool has requested for anybody that does want to go in and have a bit of a pool practice, loosen up a little bit the day before the race. So that is a change this year. And we want to make sure that we make that announcement. We'll also be updating the website here to include that as well shortly. Rob, anything to add on that?
Yeah, my mic is on. Yeah, no, I would say, $5 is a not a big price to pay on the beautiful 8 lanes along course, and they'll have it set up that way for us. And we have Coach Jen Dutton, who has actually done some 40 and 50 and 60-mile swims. She's our coach and kind of a rock star, and she's kind of quiet to herself, but man, she knows how to coach, and she would have tips for anybody that wanted to ask her a question. She's full of information, and it'll be a help to anyone to kind of hear what she has to say.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Also at 10 a.m. on Friday, we'll start a pretty long day for the team that's running packet pickup. That will be open from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Same spot in the fishbowl room that we like to call it over at the Americay Resort. No change there. Same location. We'll also have a series of mandatory safety meetings on Friday, but you have three options to attend at 1 p.m., 3 p.m., or at 6 p.m. Again, those safety meetings are mandatory. Your swimmer and kayaker have to attend one of those meetings during the day on Friday, September 12th. And again, they will take place from 1 p.m. or well, 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and also at 6 p.m. It's also a big day, both Thursday and mostly Friday for kayak drop-off and for your kayak check-in. Our team will also be there to assist you with that and placing your kayak out on the beach in front of, or I should say, in back of the Americay near our start finish line. So a lot of activity taking place on Friday. So let's make sure that you get registered as early as you can, beat the rush, and enjoy some of the sights while you're down there prior to the race. And then on Saturday, we will start on time. No doubt about that. We have every year. We'll do so again. Our solo wave will head out at 7:45 a.m. Our two-person teams will go off at 7:52 a.m. Our three-person teams will be right after that, 7:54, and then our four-person teams will head out at 8 a.m. So we run a tight ship, and we'll make sure that all the pageantry and everything that we do prior to starts in enough time so that we can start those solo swimmers at 7:45. So please be on time, be ready, and we will get everybody in the water in a very smooth. So we'll get everybody out there moving and shaking pretty good. I'm going to just switch screens here pretty quick because we want to make sure that we show everybody the course map. So I'm going to do another quick screen share here and bring this up. For those of you that were on the webinar last year, same course map. Although this year we have coordinated the buoy color for the first time. That was my fault last year. I apologize to everybody on that. So the buoy colors that you see here are the corresponding buoy colors that the event owns. I know this is hard to see. There's lots on here. This is a giant banner that we have printed up and will be available at those mandatory safety meetings. So down at the very bottom there, you can see the stairs next to the dock. That's where you will enter. At the end of the race, very important, your clock does not stop until you climb those stairs and cross through the threshold underneath the inflatable arch that will be there. That is your finish line. Your finish line is not the floating arch that's in the water. You will start at the floating arch that is in the water, but again, your clock will stop at the top of those stairs. You can also see down at the bottom here. Oh, sorry about that. You can see down at the bottom there, we have a buoy line there So we do not allow kayaks within that buoy line. It would just get far too congested with swimmers finishing and trying to do so if we allowed kayakers in that space as well. So kayakers will kayak over to return their kayaks from where you start, which is a little bit to the west of those stairs there and that buoy line. We've got all the same equipment, so you'll see that floating arch out in the water. You'll see the ducks that are right there as well. And then, of course, you will swim straight out once we blow the whistle for your wave underneath the arch, past the ducks, and also through the two yellow square buoys. Those are very large, you can't miss them. And then you're going to start swimming straight out to the lighthouse. There's a little bit of a dog leg right there, not too much, but pretty much a straight shot. Very, very important. A huge rule out in the water that our safety team will be monitoring. You cannot swim past buoy number 2 if you have not met up with your kayaker. So we'll say that again. You cannot progress past buoy number 2 if you have not met up with your kayaker. If you've reached buoy number 2 and you don't know where your kayaker is, you must stop and wait for your kayaker to catch up with you before you can progress on the course. We can't let you out in the water any further than that unless you've got water safety and your hydration and nutrition right next to you. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you'll see that we've got a ton of support boats, support jet skis all over the course. But from that point on, heading past buoy 3 and 4 all the way to buoy 7, you'll be on your opening stretch. We will have a support barge after buoy 7 and before buoy number 8. All of these buoys, again, are the corresponding colors that you see on the screen, and they are also all numbered. So you will see that during the race. And then you'll continue on. If you need something on the support barge, they will have light nutrition and they will have water, bottled water out there as well in case you are in some sort of a incident where you need some additional fluids. They will be available for you there. But once you head out past the support barge, passing buoys 8, 9, all the way till you get to 14, you'll round the lighthouse and head on back. Um, Keeping in mind that when you do, you'll pass through those two square yellow buoys again, and then through the ducks and through the floating arch that we have out in the water just beyond the stairs. So kayakers, as you are coming in with your swimmer past those square yellow buoys, make sure that you continue on with your swimmer all the way to the ducks. Again, once you hit the ducks, you're going to make a left and you're going to go return your kayak, get out of the water and go celebrate with your swimmer or with the rest of your team. But we always try to stress this as much as possible. We want to make sure that kayakers stay with their swimmers or that your teammates that are kayaking stay with your team member who is swimming all the way until you get to the ducks. We do see kayakers that once they get through those square yellow buoys, they go shoot off to go return the kayak. And sometimes because swimmers are pretty tired, they might not be sighting as well as they could be at that moment, and they start to drift off a bit. So we have to get on the microphone. We got to start hooting and hollering and yelling at people, kayakers, to get back over and make sure that their swimmer gets back on course over to those ducks and through to the finish line. So it's extremely important that you stay with your kayaker all the way to the ducks and then shoot over again if you are kayaking on race day. One last thing we'll mention, you can see down in this bottom area, there are some rocks over here on this side. Again, we have seen some swimmers drift off course. That's always a little bit of a dangerous spot. We don't have it marked on this map because it's a little bit off to this side, but there are some rocks over here on this side that we want to make sure everybody is aware of as well. We'll cover all that in those mandatory safety meetings too. But that's the course for you. Same as always. We've got, like I said, the corresponding buoy colors, and all of those features are on this course map. This will be posted on our social media channels as well, and we'll get the updated map onto the website too. So appreciate everybody paying attention to that because those are super important for everybody involved with the race, whether or not you're a part of the team running the event or whether you're also out there in the water. Other kayakers and swimmers can help one another as well. The last thing before we jump into some questions, of course, we don't know what the race conditions are going to be on race day. We're certainly monitoring some weather systems that are out there. We did look up today's water temperature. The high was 88.5 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's a couple degrees warmer than it was last year at this time. Just something to keep an eye on as well. So, with that, we're going to jump into our Q&A. And Casey, I'm going to turn things over to you for any that we have come in by email.
Yeah. So a couple of questions we had that came in by email. Uh, Shakeout swim opportunities prior to the event. Despite being surrounded by water, there is actually only a few places that you can swim while you are down in the area. So number one rule, you cannot swim the course except for on race day. The course is actually in an active boat channel. And you will start to see buoys and things like that be put out on course. You are not allowed to swim at the Amerique except for on the Saturday of race day. That's really important, gang. It is an active boat channel. A lot of different boats, or literally the boat channel runs right in front of the Amerique, and that's where we're swimming. So when you start to see those buoys put out, I know you guys get excited. It's like a beacon. It's like we must swim to it. Um, you cannot. Please do not, for your safety and for the safety of those of us that would have to jump in and collect you. Um, you can, however, swim at the Founders Park pool. You can go there. Rob, is the $5 the standard pay to swim, just drop in fee?
Yes, yeah, there'll be somebody at the desk that'll collect that on the way in, but 50-meter pool, it'll be set up 8 lanes, and Coach Jen Dutton, who's Vermont Open Water Swimming Hall of Fame, done 40, 50 long, long swims, and she's pretty accomplished, so she'll be there to fine tune. If anybody has any questions, she's there to help.
There's also another small spot there in Founders Park that's kind of that cubby hole cove that you can get in if you just want to get in, splash around, and get wet a little bit. But again, make sure that you're staying within close to shore in that little cove. That is, again, alongside active boat traffic that is out there on that side of the island. Um, Next questions are if you need to change things around when you get there. Yes. However, you need everyone on your team with you when you check in. You guys really need to check in as a team, and it works so much smoother when the entire team is there to check in together and to review everybody getting their spots. So make sure that you guys are working to check in together if you can. And if you need to make changes while you're on site, the person that you're making the change to will need to be present. We can't just start moving things around without someone. If we're moving a registration, the person that we're moving it from needs to be available to confirm, and the person that we're moving it to needs to be there so that they can give their information, because they will be required to fill out the same information, including emergency contact, kayaker, etc.
Bring your ID.
Bring your ID. Um, Gang, you cannot check in without your ID. Just super firm. And it's not, hey, Rob knows me. Hey, Larry knows me. Hey, the guy down the street knows me. Nope. You have to have your ID in order to check in. Um, are there buoys marked for the distance? The buoys are numbered, but they are not marked specifically with the distance that you're getting to. It's not like a race, in a road race where the signage says 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. They are marked 1 through 14 on the way out to the course, and they are placed equal distance apart.
Quarter mile. Each distance between each buoy is about pretty close to a quarter mile.
Any advice for jellyfish and jellyfish stings? Um, Biggest thing, pack vinegar. It's not going to be super helpful because you're in the water, but it will help post race. And I'm actually going to lean into the crew on here. Connor, Maggie, any suggestions for things that you guys have done in the past to help with those jellyfish stings?
It Everyone's different. I'll say that. Um, and if you've been stung before, hopefully you should know how your body reacts, how it feels in the moment, and 15 minutes later, and then maybe later that night. Um, I've never used vinegar out in the water. I honestly think I just sucked it up and kept swimming through it. Sometimes they're unavoidable. Um, but yeah, so I just got used to just swimming through the jellyfish, bearing with the stings. For me, it was only a feeling that lasted maybe 10 minutes and then it'd clear up and I'd be fine. Um, but some people react a little bit differently, and I think vinegar is definitely very helpful to have on the boat if you're someone that has more severe reactions. I haven't heard of any other remedies for it, but
I lather up with the zinc oxide, but I also use a lot of Vaseline and do under here, which is super sensitive, and down your side. Um, Also on my back for the sun, but that's where they're going to get you mostly is on the side and your arm. And if you have that, one year I didn't think we were putting the buoys out and didn't think they were going to be out there, and so I did just use the zinc oxide. I didn't use the Vaseline with it, and they showed up overnight, and the stings felt a lot stronger without it. So it does create, I think, a bit of a barrier, and it helps a little bit, helps bring the sting down a little bit. And I just, instead of cussing at them, I decided last year I was going to thank them for moving me along and keeping me awake. And it's a lot better to have a good attitude going through them. It's their home. So I said, hey, we're just passing through here. Don't sting me too bad. And it worked. It felt better.
The, you know, we Rob's kayaker may have thought he was losing his mind a little bit because he was out there talking to the jellyfish, but it was fine. It was fine.
Nobody else
Definitely helps to stay in a positive mood.
sure
Um,
does.
any recommendations for swimmers finding their kayaks? Again, I've got a few pointers, and then going to turn that over to any additional comments from our team. But the biggest thing is to have a plan. All right. And to really take a look at essentially what's going to happen. The sun's going to be coming up, so your kayaker is going to be backlit. So try to have some idea of, hey, I've got a tall kayaker, so I'm going to be looking for someone that's maybe a little bit taller. Or, hey, I know that we put our flag in here a certain way. Or, it's really hard to see colors. It is easier to see shapes because they are backlit. But the biggest thing is having a plan. Hey, we're going to meet up right between one and two, or hey, we're going to meet right at two. Calling out a name really helps. And then making sure that as you're working to find your kayaker, that you're paying attention. You can't necessarily rely that your kayaker can get into you because there's going to be swimmers coming up behind you. So you may need to be prepared that you need to swim out a little bit, meet up with your kayaker, and then you guys together get back on that buoy line. Because that is the most chaotic part of the race is that first two buoys where everyone's just working to catch up with their kayaker. When in doubt, though, sit and wait at that second buoy. Make a plan. Say, hey, I'm going to meet you here. If that doesn't work, the backup plan is we're going to meet at that second buoy no matter what, because you are not allowed. You will be pulled out of the water and taken out of the race if you swim past that buoy without a kayaker. Um, so those are kind of the biggest things we've learned along the way. Anybody else?
Kayakers are looking into the sun, so and I mean it's more difficult to find a swimmer, obviously, with all the splashing. Everybody looks the same, and uh, it's easier for the swimmer to find the kayaker. And you guys have been releasing, was it like 10 swimmers at a time, or not the big mass 100 people at a time? So there is some order to it, and you should be. That's made it a lot easier. But yeah, know the color of your kayak. I'm looking for a red or a green or a yellow kayak, and some people put flags or something. Know what your kayaker's dressed like, because it's a lot of commotion those the first 15 20 minutes of a race. So just kind of plan on as a swimmer to be able to find your kayaker, because it's difficult for them to pick you out of that little in the water crowd.
I will
Try to remember
recommend.
what your kayaker's wearing as well.
Yeah.
That's been really helpful. Connor froze, but one year Connor's brother kayaked for him and he wore bright orange head to toe. He was very easy to find on the water. Couldn't miss him.
Camo's not good.
It's equal responsibility of her and the kayaker to find each other. My experience from all portion of the race times, I think it's much harder for a swimmer to kayak. Even though your kayaker may have a flag or colors or something identifying on the kayak, being in the water at your eyes just above the surface looking for a kayak when you really can't see above the next small wave in front of you, it's very difficult to find a kayaker. And in the last 5 years of me swimming that first portion, I think my kayaker had found me before I saw the kayaker. And I was swimming along and oh, there's my kayaker. And if Maggie was kayaking for me the 1 year, she found me first. So I will add maybe it's a little easier for the kayaker to see that swimmer and know, hey, what does my swimmer look like while they're swimming? What does their stroke look like? Know what wave they may be starting in will help you. They do, like you said, go in waves of 10. So you got to find a way for that kayaker to look for that swimmer, which group they may be in, how fast they swim, what do they look like. Everyone's gonna have the same cap on in those groups, so it's still difficult. But I would add extra responsibility for the kayaker. It's very, very hard to see as a swimmer.
Yeah. And just remember, you guys are going to have 8 miles to catch it up. 7.5 miles after that point to catch it up. So that's not where you're going to win the race, but you need to be able to stay in the race. So that's going to be the biggest piece: is taking your time, making a plan, actioning on the plan, and both looking out for one another, and just being aware of your surroundings. Again, make sure to talk through to remind your kayaker that as they're coming in, they have to be aware of other swimmers that are going to be coming out, and just being careful there. Um, I know we had a question on a couple of tips for what to pack on the kayak. We're going to dive into that in super deep detail on the next one. But Maggie, you're always super great at this. Can you give just your highlight, like top 3 tips for things to pack on the kayak?
Yep, you don't want to overpack and pack too much, but one thing that's really good to have, if you don't already have it, is a backpack cooler. They're vertical, they can sit right behind the kayak seat. They keep everything insulated and cool. So that, water, your nutrition, because the barge will be there, but you shouldn't rely on the barge for your nutrition. Make sure you've got what you've been training with. I also keep backup goggles, a backup cap, because you could be out in the middle of the ocean and then your goggles break, and what are you going to do? So have a backup pair of goggles. If you're doing a team, make sure it's a pair of goggles or a cap that you and your team member both can use too in the event that something happens. Try to minimize what you're doing, especially for teams. Share what you can. I think Connor and I have shared hats. We've shared sun shirt. Trying to remember what else we had on our kayak too. But those are the big things. Water, nutrition, the backpack cooler is incredibly helpful.
Connor and Maggie have done a great job in the past of exactly what she just said in terms of cutting down on the weight in the kayak. So one pair of sunglasses, one wide brim hat, one shirt that can be exchanged when you're doing those swimmer exchanges from swimming to kayaking in the water. Those things might seem small, but they add up in the long run, and you can cut down on a lot of weight in the kayak that way.
The other big thing, bring a portable waterproof speaker, because if you are a solo swimmer's kayaker, you'll be on the water by yourself for a while. It gets kind of boring. Bring music. It helps so much.
Yeah.
That's far down the list of important things.
Exactly.
That's a
It's
luxury.
still
That's a
critical.
luxury
It still
item.
makes the list.
I think
Another thing that
talk
I've
to
heard is
us, Rob.
Bring one of Maggie's lucky knitted animals.
yeah.
Look at that. That's how you're going to swim fast and do well.
And another great thing I've heard is just a small rag, especially when you're applying sunscreen, reapplying, or you're the kayaker sitting in there, you're sweating. Just a small rag that helps you just wipe everything from your eyes if you need to wipe your hands, things like that, just because at some point you do end up where you're just kind of, you got the goo hands going on. Um, so we've heard that that seems to help out a lot. It also makes well for if it's the kayaker starts getting super hot, they can dip that rag in the water, wrap it around their neck, and help cool off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Gang, we will say we have gotten some questions just as far as the heat. It is going to be hot. There is no doubt about it. It is going to be hot. So make sure if you live in an area that is currently not hot, that you are preparing, that you are over preparing for the amount of nutrition and especially hydration that you may need. I will also make sure you are taking a look at the back, the nutrition label on the products that you're using, and you understand the electrolyte content and how that's different from the carb content, and how you're going to use those things as you're going throughout the day, because there will be times where maybe you're not ready to take on carbs, but you're feeling super dehydrated and you need to know kind of what is your proportions of what for when you're taking in that stuff. So make sure you're looking at that. And if possible, try to use some products that separate the carbs and the hydration so that you can take in one without the other if needed. And also, if you are a heavy sweater and or a salty sweater, keep that in mind that you may need to have some sort of salt tablets, things like that, for that extra little bit of electrolytes along the way.
Yeah. I think that might have been the last one.
I think so.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone. As we mentioned at the top of the webinar, we're going to have several of these. We might change around the topics a little bit, but hopefully we've done a good job tonight of answering any questions that you may have. If you still have some, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help and looking forward to seeing everybody in a few weeks down in Isla Mirada. So thanks, everybody.
Woohoo!
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All righty. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.